What about school? Was it difficult to get to school as well?
School was a nightmare. I lived through, my mom was enough to outlive through segregation and desegregation. Back then, you would pass many, many schools, get to, it comes back then, we went to black schools. I went to a school called Body Camp in Bedford, Virginia. That was like first grade. I think the last school class was sixth grade. I went to body camp on up until the third grade. Then segregation hit. And from body camp, I went to a school called Stewartsville. All of the horror school. I'm so ready to stare. A lot of racial slurs. A lot of, unfortunately, I struggled myself because, and I'm a pretty good student, but I almost failed that fourth grade that year. I was like praying. So many of my family friends actually failed when they went to that school because it was very hard. It was very difficult. Um, and so,
Were
yeah.
you treated any different
Oh,
between black teachers and white teachers at the integrated
they didn't
school?
have no black teachers there. Black
But
teachers.
compared to whenever it was segregated school, so I presume you have black teachers in your
Yeah,
old
we
school.
at the first school, it was all black teachers, and they were hard too. Don't get me wrong. I got my tail spanked there. I sure did stand at the corner, was twirling around and showing my underwear with a crumbling skirt on, which I guess they figured was too frisky. And then I was sorry ending up in the corner for doing that. And I got a hand spiking. Because back then, teachers could spike you. Oh, they wore my hand out. And that was the only time I showed off at school. But yeah, they disciplined you. Those teachers were hard. And the classes were split back then. You know, you might have half of the class was third graders and half was first graders. So you really got cheated on your education because they would spend so much time with the first grade and so much time with the third grade. Isn't that crazy? So, and that's what all of those classes that I think all of them were split like that. I know at least one of my grades was split like that. You go third and first grade. It was ridiculous.
So
Old books.
whenever the schools were integrated, then was this a larger school?
It was, yes, it was a larger school and it had better books.
Yeah.
Um, but the teachers, they were not happy with segregation. It was closer for us because it took longer. It took like an hour and a half when we went to the black school, way down in Bedford County. And it was so far that we always saved something to eat for lunch. We always saved something because of the bus breakdown, which you frequently did, and you didn't have something to eat. Oh, you might be 5 o'clock getting home. So you'd be hungry because they had to come and fix the bus or transfer you to another bus. So it took longer. And even in the morning, you had a good time sleeping because you had plenty of time to get there. So if you hadn't done your homework, you had plenty of time to do that job. But when we started going to the white school, which was then mixed once desegregation started, it was very close. It was very, very close. And you were there at that school, and nothing like this. But back then, they made the blacks load road behind of the bus. So if they were usually cold, we got on there, and by the time they started picking up the white students, they were warm. So there was a lot of extra stuff back then. Oh, yeah, sometimes they didn't even pick you up.